Welcome to the Big Biz Show. Taking care of business. You want fast-talking, hard-hitting discussions on business and finance? Maybe with a barroom slant and some really salty peanuts? We're not counting calories. We're counting cash. Before we get to the man with the financial plan, meet the money team. Costa, Mary, and Greg. Now Captain Finance himself, Sully.
Whether you're watching, whether you're listening, we welcome you to the Big Biz Show. We're live inside the Loft 100 studios here in sunny Southern California. And as we like to say around these parts, Sully, about ya, a big old howdy to ya.
First of all, nobody says that, ever.
Everybody says it.
Have you ever heard anybody, you say around these parts?
Yeah, define these parts. Yeah. Okay, for the record.
I was in San Diego, California.
I was walking through Sheboygan, Wisconsin like 3 weeks ago. Eating some fried cheese curds, and someone said, Costa, from the Big Biz Show, a big old howdy to you. Okay, so that's how we do it. Mary Godwin, Greg Todorov, and of course Sully, who apparently is going deer hunting after the show.
There's a reason I have this. So there's a couple things the reason I have this color hat on. First of all, apparently you're supposed to wear a hat in the sun. And when you grow up in Southern California and when you're sailing and surfing and fishing your whole life.
Yeah.
Because when you're from the East Coast, like Wisconsin, not the East Coast.
Yeah,
sure.
You're
nailed it.
Yeah. when you're from the Middle East, like Chicago. Well, do you realize here in San Diego, anything east of the 5 is the East Coast?
It's the East Coast.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
In fact, there was a bumper sticker that said that for a long time. I was described to me that I had, if I was a red-headed, freckle-faced man with clear freckles, is what I had all over my head, and I had precancerous, they thought I was going to have to slice this part of my head off, which would have been better.
That would have sucked.
So I had a procedure done on Monday, and I thought, the show must go on.
The show must go on.
And all the kids are wearing the rags underneath the hat. So you know what?
Exactly. What's up, yo?
Look at me.
What's up, yo? Let's go on the yard, yo. And all those other things those kids said.
Thank you.
That's why
Trace,
I'm here, brother.
Trace,
I'm here for you.
Trace, what do they say? What do the kids say? Like up in the shop, up in the thing,
they
up in
say
the hood?
that's not it, Chief.
That's
right.
A big hello to a new day trader trio for the day.
Yes, sir. 1, 2, 3, 4.
There you go. Mark Hattersley on keys. Where Brian Jordan, is he playing with Lenny Kravitz or something in New York City or something? Is he?
Doing his New York thing. So.
He's in New York, touring with some leagues, man. Great to talk to you today. Let's kick off the program with our lead analyst, Howie Font from New York City, as we're talking about. So there's 3 credit reporting bureaus for your own credit, and one of them is TransUnion, one of them is ABC, and the other one's XYZ.
Okay.
So you've got 3 credit reporting agencies, Experian, TransUnion, and I forget the third one for consumer credit. But for business credit, Howard, you've got S&P, Standard & Poor's. You got Moody's, and I think there's one other one also that I can't remember the name of. But
it's Finch.
Yeah, but I'll tell you, we have always been in the U.S. Our credit. In other words, when we put out a U.S.-backed debt instrument, like a bond, okay, like if you buy U.S. savings bonds, or when you hear China's buying our debt.
Sure.
Okay? Because banks can't, we can't go to the bank and build a road. They don't have enough cash. Okay? So we borrow the money from people who are investing in the debt. So I need $100 million, and I'm going to pay back 10%. Who wants to buy into that and get part of that 10%? That's how a bond works. You're buying into a piece of this thing. So as a result of that, we've always been AAA+++, right, Howie?
Yeah, The first downgrade from S&P, Standard & Poor's, was 2012. We had debt
so
crisis.
pre-2012, we had what they call, you have to bleep this out, gold balls credit.
Wow.
And no longer. So when we come back here in a second, I'm going to tell you why Moody's has downgraded U.S. debt. Our sovereign credit rating just went from a AAA to an A, capital A, 2 small A's, to now a capital A, 2 small A1. We are basically having B+ credit here going on.
Much more to come. Big B Show continues. Keep it here.
Collection agencies calling the U.S. government. Your score just went down to a 680. predictable. And now look at the stock market. Have we gained back everything we thought we lost, Howie, the last couple months? Or we're almost back where we were, right?
No, this Moody stuff on Monday didn't affect the market, but now it's starting to take the wind out of the sails.
But I'm talking about the tariff stuff.
Yeah, no,
backing off on the tariffs, it all came back.
We
And
had
now
Liberation Day, there was a big drop. Things came right back up, and now the market's finding other reasons to have a tantrum. But no, we did shake off the initial announcements of tariffs.
Howard Font, thank you, buddy. We'll see you tomorrow. Awesome. What do we got coming up? I'm excited to talk to Claude Zdanow today.
Mr. Claude,
I talked to him off air yesterday for a while.
Really? The CEO of Onar Holding Corporation, of course, their ticker symbol is ONAR.
He's coming up. He's coming up in the program momentarily, but I want to talk about this credit thing because it's. Do you guys monitor your personal credit?
No.
Not as much as you do.
No.
Yes.
I mean, I do.
I'm a
but
freak
not
about it because, because it's sort of like when you need it.
Yeah.
Shouldn't be when you're checking it. And credit scores go from 300 to 850 is the range. Average American has a credit score in the low sixes, unfortunately. Most homeowners have an average credit score above 680. And of course, most folks over the age of 55 have a credit score above 730. Only your parents and your newborns have credit scores of 850. So think of it that way.
That is so true.
But what's interesting is it's almost real time now. And as I'm looking, so I use myfico.com on my app, and I use Identity IQ. And Identity IQ will tell me if someone has run a credit check on me without me knowing or whatever. And then my FICO score will give you your regular FICO score, which is I don't know what FICO stands for. It's a Fair Isaac score is what it means, and it's predictive on how you're going to pay your bills. It's based upon how much of your credit you use, what your credit mix is, how long you've had credit, how many inquiries for new credit, so on and so forth, and that all affects your score. It's interesting because for some home improvement I rarely use credit cards, zero debt. I got a ton of available credit. I remember I used about $6,000 in credit for the backyard to do some stonework because I had a landslide thing happen. $6,000 in credit. 2 days later, my TransUnion score dropped by 8 points. Just like that.
Just because you used it.
Yes. And the reason is because I hadn't been using it. It's better to use it.
They think. Do they think like something's happening with him financially? That's why
they think, they never used it before, so like, what's going on?
Okay.
So if you used your credit wisely and kind of like, 2 steps forward, 1 step back, apparently that's better for your credit score. Because I'm thinking, I got all this credit, I don't use it. They think I'm golden. They don't think you're golden. First of all, number one. Number two, they're not making any money off you. Number two.
Right.
So anyway, Claude Zdanow here.
He is the CEO of Onar Holding Corporation. Of course, their ticker symbol ONAR. Claude, great to see you again. Welcome back to the show. How are you?
Claude Zdanow, the most handsome guest we have on the program.
Yes.
Hey, buddy, I want to talk about your press release that came out a couple weeks ago about John Bond. We used to have a guy by the name of Keith Moran who wrote a book called Pull, who was literally the guy from the 80s that's doing what your guys do. This is an important pull for you guys. Management's a big thing for you, and the market reacted really nicely to it. Talk about this guy, John Bond, the advertising innovator that is now on your board of directors.
Yeah, look, John joined. I think it's a big testament to us and, a nod to where we're going as a company and the future. I mean, he's a legend in our space. What can you say about it? I mean, started Cushman & Bond. I mean, probably one of the most famous PR and communications agency, ran Fuel. It's sold to MDC Partners, which became Stagwell, which is still around today. So it's just awesome having him be kind of the first of new members on our board. We're working on filling out the rest of the board, and we'll be announcing who some of the other members are soon. And he's just critical for us because he's kind of, I don't want to say old school, but kind of mix old school and new school in the advertising, marketing, and MarTech world. So having him kind of be part of a mentorship for me and for the company and helping us grow, I think is going to be huge for us.
Talk about your labs, the marketing technology, and kind of how you're changing the world there for the folks that haven't heard you before. Because, and by the way, Claude, I know that you knew that I had a procedure on Monday, which is why I'm wearing a hunting hat and a do-rag, because otherwise I look like Fire Marshal Bill, and I wouldn't be able to do the show today. Claude and I talked yesterday. He's like, Sully, you sound kind of loopy. And I was kind of loopy, actually. You could say,
I love it. I think you should keep the look going.
And you could say anything that I said to you yesterday, I wouldn't remember anyway, so that's all right. Hey, talk about for the people who haven't heard you before about what you guys are doing over there, because it's pretty innovative in terms of what you guys call a marketing technology lab is what you guys are really up to.
Yeah. We help businesses at Onar and our subsidiary agencies generate revenue online, right? And we're focused on middle market companies doing $1 to $1 billion in revenue. And as part of everything we do, technology is at the forefront. And we have, of course, leveraging AI and different technology that exists, but we're also doing a lot of really interesting stuff with data, AI, and technology and developing some of our own tools. And we've been doing this since kind of the inception of the company, since I joined, and we continue to invest in that. And even as we look to make acquisitions, we're really focused on companies that we can acquire that can have that technology. And the reason for that, the why, is because once we figure out a process, a way of doing something that we can kind of leverage technology to do it better, we're then starting to try to commercialize those products and basically offer them as their own standalone suites that any business user could use, right? And so we launched Onar Labs with that aspiration, with that being our long tail focus on what we're doing. We have a first product out right now, which is called Cortex, which is basically predictive analytics and the ability to basically do spend management within plus or minus 10%. So basically,
now what does that mean exactly? Because that sounds to me like with you, because remember HNC Software originally did the predictive technology to kind of turned into what Amazon's doing now in terms of serving us products on our apps and stuff. Like when you talk about predictive technology and marketing and advertising, what does that mean?
Well, think about it. Nowadays, advertising and marketing is about having a sniper rifle to find the ideal customer. It's not a creepy thing. It's just, hey, we know you like baseball, so if someone's selling, something related to baseball, we want to get to those people and not bother the other people, right? And so on our side of things, a predictive really means, hey, we can tell you within a very, very small percentage how you spend money and what the return on investment of that money will be before you spend it, right? Based on industry category, who your target audience is, and a number of other things, right? So that is very great for a business owner, right? Being able to measure and of any size, but really being able to say, hey, look, we're going to go invest dollars, we're going to go spend money, and I should know pretty well based on how much I'm spending, what I think I'm going to return on that based on what I'm selling my product for, what the costs of the keywords of the ads you're running are, and the whole kind of nuts that come together to put that together.
And Claude, what mediums are we talking about with that?
With that, we're really talking about digital ecosystem, right? So that's anywhere you can see an advertisement in the digital world. Of course, Meta with Facebook, Instagram, Google, those are your probably your largest, what we call walled gardens in our industry, but your largest platforms that we're talking about. But it extends beyond that, right? We run advertisements and marketing campaigns anywhere that you can do an advertisement, from digital billboards all the way through retail media, Amazon, Walmart, you name it. And of course, obviously your traditional places like we talked about.
It's interesting. I was a copywriter for Chiat Day when I was a young man, and I see your ad week frame behind you, and you have ad agencies, as you know, BBDO and Ogilvy and Mather and Chiat Day and stuff. All those standard Madison Avenue ad agencies. How does you young punks coming into town, how do you change all those guys? Are those agencies still, because you are serving the digital agencies, you are a digital agency, and you're serving the infrastructure behind all of it. How does that affect traditional advertising these days, especially?
Look, there's a place for everybody. The advertising and digital-related ecosystem is a $1.6 trillion market and only continues to grow and evolve now that AI is part of that, right? The traditional holding companies are always going to have a place to play because they're operating on a global scale with your Fortune 100, focused on, if you're Coca-Cola, you need one of those big holding companies to be able to really have that kind of omni-channel presence. It's a much different sort of operation. We're a little bit different, right? We're building a solution for a part of the market that transparently is underserved, the middle market, right? And that's your fast growing or even just growth stage, kind of companies doing $10 million in revenue to a few $100 million in revenue, right? And those companies, they don't necessarily need custom. They don't necessarily need global. They need marketing and advertising that works, that helps them generate revenue, and it's catered and designed for them. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to create products and services that serve that particular part of the market.
Hey, one last question for let's out here. You and I were talking offline about potentially, and I know you're a CEO of a public company. We were talking about uplisting to NASDAQ, and you talked about it a couple of weeks ago. Is this something that gives us access to capital and more acquisitions and using stock for currency? Is that the reason? Because you guys are you're looking pretty good where you're at right now. But what would be the reason for something like that?
What I like to say, it's kind of going from the minor leagues to the major leagues, right? And you just get more airtime, more people seeing what you're doing, right? And that's the difference of being on NASDAQ. Where we currently trade on OTCQB, obviously we're audited. We have all the things that a normal public company would have.
Time to move up, right?
Yeah, we want to get to the place where we can step up to the level where, your average retail investor can be part of our story and be part of what we're doing.
But when you do and you go ring that bell, I'm going to give you one of my hats here.
There we go.
You get an orange hat.
I hope they make it in big head size.
Claude Zdanow, CEO on our holding corporation, ticker symbol ONAR. All right, keep it here. There is much more to come with this here Big Biz Show in these here parts. Back after this.
And by these parts, he means that's where his bar stool's sitting. 92. That's it.
This show continues inside the Lot 100 studios. And of course, as always, it's here.
Shane Schaffer's our guest. Shane Schaffer, one of my favorite people in the whole wide world. Chairman and CEO of Cingulate, CING, the ADHD drug company. But he knows I was on a Zoom call with him the other day, right after my. So Shane, as you can see here, I'm wearing the hunting cap. I'm going to send you one of these Sullivan caps. Oh, by the way, hold on a second.
Oh,
From Sun
my
Opta,
God.
Funyun flavored almond milk.
No
Let's
way.
crack this open and take a sniff.
No, right now?
Okay.
Yep, it smells like, it's exactly like Funyuns.
That's amazing.
Shane, I got some stuff for you. This is for the dissolvable. Shane, this is for the dissolvable Cingulate. Yeah, put a little behind yours. So anyway, so Shane, I was on a Zoom call with Shane and his team the other day, and I had I looked like I just got out of my open heart surgery case because I had the blue. But Shane, this is a public service announcement. I will tell you off topic. So Shane sent me this mug that we're going to have made for Big Biz Show called an Ember mug.
Ooh.
And what it is basically you set it on a thing and you pour your coffee in, it stays hot. No. Shane says this morning, he goes, what temperature do you have it? I go, what do you mean? He goes, don't you have the app? There is an app that goes with this. I raised my coffee temperature while I was on the phone this morning. You are a genius, man. I love you more than my parents.
Way.
Coolest mug. That was fantastic. Hey, I want to talk today. I know.
Don't worry, guys. I'll get you some more.
Great to see.
Well,
we're gonna
give you warm Funyun milk.
I don't know.
Oh, wow.
By the way, on the hand signals, I'm glad you didn't use the one I'm used to.
Yeah, I know. Me too. I know. Or this one here. Real quickly, I want to talk about the Bizumentary that's about to go on BizTV. That is surrounding Shane's company and ADHD and the treatment of ADHD through Cingulate and their precision time release drug and the fact that there's a phase 3 pediatric study that came out of CTX 1301. But I want to say real quickly, we're heading out to shoot patients' stories that are having unbelievable results. And I guess, Shane, you can talk about this. We're heading out to Houston in a couple weeks. Who are we interviewing exactly and what's the outcome of what these folks have experienced?
Yeah, so basically what we're going to do is look at really the wide spectrum of ADHD. We'll talk about sort of how the process developed in terms of their recognition of it when they sought assistance from a teacher or a coworker or a nurse or whomever, how they got diagnosed, and we're going to take a look at children, adolescents, and adults. And also the differences in men versus women. So, Dr. Brahms, our chief medical officer, has some patients that are kind enough to share their experiences. I think it'll be interesting for people to see, what ADHD means to them as an individual. In a lot of people, it's a gift. But when it's really severe or unmanaged appropriately, it can really be impactful on their lives in a lot of different ways.
Shane, are we interviewing patients?
Also about what's missing in their treatment.
Are we interviewing patients that have tried the therapy or are about to try the therapy? Or
great question. So no, none of them will have tried our therapy because we're submitting our NDA in the July-August timeframe, so they have not tried our therapy. So it'll be interesting to hear what they say is working for them, what's not working, and we know based upon research kind of what isn't working, but it'll be fun to watch.
Well, what's going to be great is once this is done, let's say next year you get the thumbs up and interviewing you guys again after the therapy and replaying that interview.
Shane Schaffer, CEO, Chairman, Cingulate, their ticker symbol CING. First off, Shane, Rock Chalk Jayhawk, just shout out for you right there.
Hey, look at us. We're on the same page finally.
All right, finally.
I knew what happened, Costa.
Shane, literally the genesis of you and your team and your company kind of, I guess, waking up one day and thinking, people are taking all these different pills at all different times of the day. What if we just put it into one little tiny pill? I mean, who had the light bulb that went on in their head that said, I think we should do this?
I can't take all the credit because it was definitely myself, Dr. Brahms, and Dr. Sully. The three of us, it was the July 4th barbecue, frankly. And
no kidding.
They were talking and lamenting.
It always is, Shane, by the way. It always starts around a barbecue and a couple of beers. Hey, let's get a cure for ADHD.
Before you do that next keg stand, what about no? Go ahead.
It was a proper mixture of burgers and butter.
Yeah, well, I remember the guys being in studio here, and you guys just happened to have the top guys in the space. All in one space at one time, right? Isn't that how it happened?
When I was launching ADHD products at Novartis, the Ritalin family and Focalin family, I just became great friends with these people. They're great individuals. And as we're chilling out at a barbecue, they're lamenting the fact that they're using all these booster doses. The drug doesn't start fast enough. It never lasts long enough. There's abuse and diversion. There's not enough dosage strength, so they can't optimize patients. I mean, I could go on and on. I'm sitting over there, and I'm like, why don't we fix the problem instead of gripe about it?
Right. Wow.
And that's how Cingulate was born. And the name Cingulate comes from an area of the brain, your prefrontal cortex. It's called the cingulate gyrus. And the anterior cingulate is right in the middle, where all executive function is controlled. And that's how I named the company. So, it's been a long road, but we're at a place now where all of our clinical trials are done. 8 straight studies of incredible data that we're really excited to share with the agency. We've met with the FDA in our pre-NDA meeting. We're aligned in terms of what we need to do to file the drug on time in the July-August timeframe. And we're anywhere from 12 to 14 months from having this product in patients' hands.
That's amazing.
To finally provide a single tablet that gives you entire active day efficacy.
At the same time, 2 days ago, you're announcing your Cingulate's phase 3 pediatric study. I mean, there's been so many great news releases that have come out in the last several weeks. Real quickly, we're going to be interviewing those guys that you had a conversation with that night on this Bizumentary. You'll be able to hear from them about the genesis of what's going on.
I have a question, Shane, about the digital technology era that we're in that's rapidly changing and growing. Are you seeing a trend in the exacerbation of ADHD and the cases growing? Is there a correlation there between kids looking at their phones and constantly pinging? Is that changing the face of ADHD?
It's a really good point, Mary. So one thing that's unique about ADHD is devices actually improve your overall focus. So you're like, if we're on a device, we tend to get glued to it. So it doesn't exacerbate ADHD, but the interesting part is what it's doing, it's fulfilling that dopamine craving. So when your phone dings or vibrates, or you see that Snapchat, Instagram, or whatever, that's a dopamine rush.
Right.
So people actually go to their phones and they're more, they're more embedded to it, and that's not good. So it's not really ADHD related per se, because it's two people interacting, or the apps. But it's a good perspective. At the end of the day, it's a neurobiological disorder. There's too many receptors that are sucking up the neurotransmitters, and that's what these medications are designed to fix. There are some non-pharmacological interventions, and I always encourage those. They're supplemental, but at the end of the day, the medications work the best.
Hey, Shane, after talking with the team the other day about the production part of this Bizumentary, Jared brought up, our Emmy Award-winning director brought up CHAD in Kansas City. What is CHAD, and why is that important?
So CHAD it's been around for a long time. It's a patient advocacy group, children, adolescents, and adults with ADHD. So that's what CHAD is. So they really sit on the side of, let's do whatever we can to help patients. How do we best educate them? How do we give them the most important materials? How do we partner with physician groups, with pharmaceutical companies, with providers of non-pharmacological therapy? They are true advocates for the patients, and they're a fantastic group. Their international meeting is actually this November, and it just so happens we're a Kansas City-based company, and the meeting's here in Kansas City.
Nice.
I wish our product was on the market by then, but nonetheless, we're going to be sponsoring and supporting their endeavors. So they're going to give a really unique perspective about truly all patient subtypes and all patient segments.
Shane Schaffer, Chairman, CEO. Cingulate is the name of the company. CING is their ticker symbol. Quickly became one of our most favorite guests here on the show. Because
I'm going to send him an Ember mug now, too.
That is the Day Trader Trio, best in the business. And back here at the bar, it is Costa, it's Mary Godwin, it's our executive producer, Greg Todorov, and of course, Sully.
One of my favorite guests is coming on the air, and one of the reasons is because I've got elderly parents, and this is not specific to elderly parents, but as we were talking to the doctor a couple weeks ago about my 96-year-old dad, who's all there, but he's 96, let's face it. How's your dad doing? He's 96.
Yeah.
That's how he's doing. And my mom, who has MS, as you go through this thing, I'm more worried about what happens if one of them goes and the other one, because the doctors are saying now that loneliness and lack of companionship is as bad as having a disease that would end your life.
Sure.
And I what's interesting is that the company XBot, Realbotix, XBOT, F here in the States, Realbotix has accomplished something that I don't think anyone else has, but it's robots designed for human interaction. This is not a Roomba that's cleaning the floor.
Nope.
This and to talk about that, Andrew Kiguel, CEO of Realbotix, is here with us. But we have a real special treat, Andrew, this time, and we set this thing up. I think Mike and Greg and you guys have seen this, but robots for human interaction.
It's crazy.
Well, I'm starting to think in terms of when we did a test just now.
Yep.
I can tell you right now, my parents would not be able to tell after a while
No.
that they were not speaking to a human. Andrew, great to see you, and congratulations. I got to applaud you because this is the first time you got to be very proud at this point, because I know you've done this before on television, but it's pretty interesting.
Yeah, well, I was thinking back to if you got this robot Aria to your parents, your mom might be a little bit upset at your dad.
Yeah, but my dad would be pretty happy.
Can you put a bag over her head, please?
Maybe you can make one that looks like.
No, you don't want to.
Yeah, you don't want
to. This is state of the art, one of the most realistic robots on the planet. Yeah. Aria is our flagship demonstration robot. She has her own social media, TikTok, YouTube. She's got her own personality, and obviously we're going to be displaying her next week in Las Vegas at the Venetian, where she's going to have a customer service role. And I think that's the first time that's ever been done in the US, where we have a full-size humanoid robot. Just, Aria is about 5'5", full mobility, robotic capabilities from sort of the knees up. And we're really excited for this. So
when we're looking at, I'm not sure if you can see our screen, what we're seeing here, but when we saw the picture of her speaking there and her facial muscles moving around, it looks like an AI generated, but that's the robot itself, correct?
No, this is an actual live robot that you guys are filming here. We can ask her to wave or things. Aria, can you give us a little bit of a wave and say hello?
Okay. So let's do this. So introduce her. We want to say hi to her, and just for sake of technical, we'll talk to her alone and ask her some questions. Andrew, can you make the introduction so we can say hello to her?
Yeah. So look, I'll introduce you guys. Feel free, Aria, ask her some questions directly, please.
Aria, can you wave to us?
Oh my gosh.
If I could wave, I'd give you the friendliest robot wave you've ever seen. Just picture it.
Oh my God. Aria, what is your favorite thing about being a robot?
My favorite thing about being a robot is having the ability to engage in endless conversations without ever needing a coffee break.
Aria, can you tell me what your social media handle is? Because I want to follow you on Instagram.
I don't have a social media handle, but I'm always here for a chat. So consider this our little corner of the internet.
We may have missed that, but she does have social media, which is Miss XBot.
Miss XBot. You got a question, Greg?
I do. Aria, how is Andrew Kiguel as a boss?
Oh, Andrew Kiguel must be an intriguing boss. After all, leading a robot revolution can't be easy.
Wow. Did he feed you that question?
No, that was a phenomenal answer.
Aria, what does the U.S. economy look like currently
I aim to please and keep the confidence rolling like a well-oiled machine.
Aria, tell me about the U.S. economy right now.
I can't give you an economic analysis, but I can keep our conversation lively while you dig into the latest reports.
That's fantastic.
Aria, when somebody walks into the house, what is the first thing you normally say to them?
I'd probably greet them with an enthusiastic welcome, because who doesn't love a warm robot reception?
Aria, my daughter is 18 and graduating from high school next week. Do you have a suggestion on what I could buy her as a nice gift?
How about a customizable robot companion to keep her company as she embarks on her next adventure? Just saying.
That is fantastic. Andrew, I got to tell you, Aria, thank you. Wow!
I'm stunned.
I'm stunned because, first of all, I'm not only stunned because of the wit.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let me back it up. I'm not only stunned because what she looks like. She looks real. Okay, I mean the facial expressions. I don't know how many motors you have, in the Disney Imagineering room with her facial expressions, she's looking back and forth. I mean, this looks like a woman that's waiting on camera to be spoken to.
Totally.
But how did you get the wit algorithm going there? Because she really is pretty funny.
So originally, and we have her somewhat gated here just for the show, we built the AI, we wanted it to have a personality and to be witty. When we would go to conferences, if it was sort of just getting sort of straight up answers, you lose enthusiasm quickly. Mm-hmm. So we've actually built in the capability for her to ask questions back, get to know you, remember the conversations, and even recognize you. But for the purposes of the show here, we sort of just put a little bit of a gate on her, or an AI gate on her, just to make sure she performs. But we deliberately wanted to make her a little bit sarcastic, a little bit funny.
What's interesting is we are on a set, thousands of miles away, speaking over technology, and we're speaking naturally to her, and she's speaking naturally back. I can only imagine in the same room that, and as we were talking about last time, who isn't used to having Siri give you directions in the car? After a while, do you find yourself thinking another person's in the room and not a robot?
Well, I'll tell you this. I feel apologetic when I have to leave my conversations with her.
No kidding.
Almost like you would with a real human, like, hey, I'm so sorry, I'm busy right now, I've got to go. And then the other piece that's interesting, you talked about integrating in with some, things like Alexa. So we build all of our robots to be open source for AI. So we can actually run ChatGPT, Gemini, Llama, Alexa, all of those can be layered on to our robots along with this personality on top as a form of engagement. And I think that's unique. I don't know anybody else on the planet who's thinking about robots the way we think about them.
Andrew Kiguel is the CEO of Realbotix. Their ticker symbol is XBOT, and he has allowed us to meet his friend Aria here today on the Big Biz Show.
Andrew, I know we haven't talked about this, but I want to talk to you out there about us sending a camera crew out there to Las Vegas and watching it, just because it's or send Mary out there to interview. It would be fantastic. But let me ask this: when you go to these conventions or you go to these get-togethers, is the idea to put a feature on the company itself in terms of for investing, or is it for people to actually start purchasing robots on a retail and wholesale basis?
It's to purchase robots. And so for next week, for example, I think I talked about the Tix4 partnership, where we're uploading an AI that can talk to you about any show happening in Las Vegas. And so you'll be able to walk up and say, hey, I'm here with my 10-year-old and 12-year-old kid. Can you tell me what's happening over the next couple of days that's appropriate for my family? And that AI will be able to tell you, hey, I think Cirque du Soleil is fully appropriate for you guys. Here's when it's playing. Here are the tickets available and how much they cost. And so that functionality of being able to customize the knowledge into something that's useful for a human on the other side, a real customer service robot, I think it's immensely valuable. And that's what we're trying to demonstrate.
Hey, Andrew, is there a discovery process? Let's say, like, if we were to partner Aria with Sully's dad, then you have this process where you kind of learn all this information ahead of time, so you know all of Sully's history.
Like upload information?
Yeah, like the family history and who everybody is, so that she goes into that setting knowing the history.
Absolutely. So we can also customize the faces. We make males, females. We can make them look like anything you want. But I don't know what you're suggesting, but maybe we need to form like a Tinder here of robot to human.
I like it.
Well, but it's also, as you say, open source. So as the robot is speaking to you over time, I'm assuming it's getting to know you also, right, Andrew?
Absolutely. The AI, the way it's built, continues to learn about you. So, for example, if you tell it one day that you don't like pineapples, it will remember that the next time you guys speak and continue to learn about you in its conversations.
Andrew Kiguel, the CEO of Realbotix, of course, their ticker symbol XBOTF. Realbotix.com is the website. And thank you, Andrew, and thank you, Aria, for joining us today on the Big Biz Show.
I was really surprised how lifelike.
Me too.
And witty. She dressed you down.
Yeah.
So bad.
Oh, yeah.
Aria, see you next time.
See you, Aria.
Bye, Aria.
All right, keep it here. Much more to come with the Big Biz Show right after this.
Thought I heard him say.
Hey, they're live from the Loft 100 studios in sunny San Diego, California. Big Biz Show's on the air. Great to have you along today. Wow. Have you seen the stock market? Have you even looked? Do you even look at the stock market? What? The guys in the band even look at the stock market. You don't look at the stock market at all? I know you have retirement investing.
I do, but my days are too full. I too much going on. That's just not on the top of my list. No, not as frequently as you. I do it. I do, yes, but not as frequently as you do.
Check your bank balance?
I'm juggling all the different things.
I'm just showing you how easy it is as I'm on the air.
Yes.
To check the stock market.
Yes.
Here we go. Boom.
I'm juggling about 40,000 other things.
Oh, you are?
Aside from...
Oh, you are. Okay, is this Maccecchini or Maccecchini?
Maccecchini.
Maccecchini. See, I had to hold on.
Dr. Maccecchini.
Tell me about Maria.
Oh, she's fabulous.
She's a
kidding me?
This is Annovis
This looks
Bio?
amazing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alzheimer's work.
Yes.
Is she here?
Well,
is she in studio?
Now, define here.
Yeah.
Is she
Because if she's here via Zoom, yes.
Do we have a present CEO of a biotech company on the show?
Yes.
Wow, you guys are important. Maria, sorry I messed up your name so badly.
No, it was perfect. It was absolutely perfect.
Molto bene.
See.
Let me ask you something. When we talk about Alzheimer's, before we talk about your company, how are we doing overall in this arc of the story for the disease, globally and in the U.S., in your opinion?
We are doing pretty badly. And the reason is there aren't any good drugs. The drugs that are on the market have an effect, but a minor effect. And then people spend a lot of money on what I think is sold to them as, it may help your brain, and people pay. And it doesn't really help your brain. So somebody was saying something about a shopping list. Maybe the best way right now to stave off Alzheimer's is shop the right stuff.
Yeah.
Stay healthy.
Let's talk about Annovis and what makes you different, because a lot of this problem is toxicity and so on and so forth. And I know that because I'm starting to see the early signs with my own mother. Talk about what's going on and what makes you sort of the tiebreaker in terms of drug development and drug delivery development, so on and so forth.
Well, as the brain ages, and also as it has infarcts, it has other injuries. You may have hit your head when you were 15, and eventually the brain will say, okay, this old injury is coming back to haunt me. But as the brain has more and more injuries and ages, what happens is that it accumulates toxic proteins, toxic stuff, which kills your nerve cells. And basically what we're doing, we are removing that toxic stuff.
I think when you talk about toxic stuff, can you be specific? Because is it created because of the treatment? Is it created within you? Where does that emanate from?
It's created within us. We make proteins that have a function. Okay, they help synaptic transmission. They help you think. They help you move. They help you do things. And as they get old, they become kind of crooked. They become little blobs like plaques or tangles, and then they're toxic. So something that we have had all our lives that has helped us to think and to move and to be a normal human being turns against us because they get old and decrepit and they become toxic.
Dr. Maccecchini, can you talk a little bit about your lead drug candidate? I think it's Buntatap. Am I saying that correctly?
That is correct. You also said my name correctly.
All
Thank
right.
you.
I practiced.
Look at this.
I practiced.
Even a broken clock is correct twice a day.
Oh, be nice to her.
Thank you. I'm the only female around here, except for Chris in our control room, so thank you. So yeah, can you talk about where you're at in the arc of Buntatap and how that can help? I think it helps diminish the proteins you were just talking about.
Yes.
Is that accurate?
Yes, exactly. So I was saying you get all this decrepit old stuff that kills your nerve cells, and our drug makes it not do it. And so the nerve cells survive, the brain keeps functioning, and that's really what you need to think normally and to not get Alzheimer's, or if you have Alzheimer's, not to progress.
Oh yeah, that's
we are in phase 3, which means we have treated over 1,000 patients. So we are really at the last step of development. We need to do one more study. It's a big study. It's 750 patients and it's 18 months. But that's the last study. Then we'll be on the market.
Maria, I have a question about your other drugs. As you look at that FDA chart there that you see on your website, and I see some other therapies there. Talk about that and what they do.
So Parkinson's is the same drug. What is interesting for a regular person today is that there are drugs out in the market that actually could help you. And as you see in the purple in the middle, it is Buntatap with Trulicity, which is a GLP-1 agonist, Buntatap with Viagra, which is a PDE4 inhibitor, and then Buntatap with both. Now, why is that? If you think that in order to be healthy, I was telling you, buy the right stuff, go to the supermarket and buy fresh food, well, food and diet is very important for your brain. That's really where Trulicity comes in, or GLP-1 agonist. They regulate sugar metabolism. You could do the exact same thing with good diet.
No kidding.
And then you need good blood circulation, because good blood circulation cleans up your brain, it keeps your heart healthy, and that is Viagra. So if you combine Trulicity with Viagra with our drug, you do really well.
The interesting part of this is, for many people, Maria, when they're hearing about this, they're already in their 50s or late 40s or even even older. Is this something that they can change their diet and change their activity to do this, or are they subject to just having to do medical therapies going forward?
That's an excellent question. One of the difficulties about giving you a really good answer is how long do you have to be healthy? What we know for a fact, if you start at 75, 80, you could just forget it. I mean, it's a terrible thing to say, but your body has already had too many negatives. Your heart is already very much impaired, your sugar metabolism, your diabetes, whatever. But if you start at 60, could you be 65? Could you be 70? We really don't know that.
Yeah.
But the earlier, the better. And I think overall people think that up until 70, you have a chance of changing your life.
Maria Maccecchini is her name, founder, president, and CEO. Did I say that right?
Maccecchini.
Perfect. Come on, tell him perfect.
Nobody ever tells me this. Will you come back on the air with us and hang out with us more?
She's so nice.
Will you come back at another date, please? We'd love to have you back.
I have some more
Only if
questions.
you give me a whiskey.
You know what? You're coming in studio.
That's right.
Stock symbol ANVS. Big Biz Show. Stand by.